Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a eyeshadow palette review, and this is on the brand new palette from Melt Cosmetics. I have not really reviewed much Melt here on my channel. I've just been kind of iffy about the brand. I hear a lot of hit or miss things, and I did order one of their palettes once that was on clearance on Sephora. It was their Impulsive palette. It was super cheap. And I got it in the mail and I was just like, these colors are kind of all over the place. I regretted buying it, so I did end up returning it. Wasn't a really big fan of how the stuff swatched and all that, but I saw that they released a cool tone palette. I'm a sucker for cool tones. It's my favorite thing to wear. You guys know my #1 palette is Natasha Denona Glam. So I decided I would go ahead and have this be technically my first Melt palette from them. So let's go over the details here. I ordered this during the Sephora sale that is still going on right now. If you guys are a Beauty Insider member and you want to save a little bit on your purchase, so I was able to get 20% off on this. So that definitely enticed me to buy, and I just really loved the color story. So this is Maryjane. And I must say the packaging is really gorgeous on this. Melt does make a lot of weed and cannabis themed items, if you guys didn't know. So that's their aesthetic, that's what they go for, and that is why they have this kind of smoke theme here. I absolutely love the lettering here. These kind of look like little studs. It's plastic pieces that stick out, and it has sequins inside, which I think is so gorgeous. So they did such a good job on the packaging. And then you open it up and here is the shades inside. So very much cool tones. It kind of has almost an olive green vibe to it as well. And this is going for $58 on Sephora right now, and it has 10 shades. I will go ahead and insert these swatches. I was very impressed with how this palette swatched. I thought the shades were very pigmented. The mattes, I think this is their usual matte formula, and they can be a little bit dry feeling almost, some of them, but they had like full-on pigmentation. As you guys can see, is full opacity with all the colors. So that's kind of an intro to this palette. I did do 2 looks. I'm just gonna do a voiceover over it because sometimes I feel like I drag it out when I'm actually like talking while like applying the stuff. So I wanted to make these a little bit shorter and shorten my reviews a little bit, but still including all the points and stuff. You can see how I did it. So I did this look and I did another one that I'll be showing you guys first. So let's get into that. To start off the look, I'm taking the shade Mary. This is literally the perfect lighter crease color, perfect for blending shadows. So I started with that, and then to deepen that up a bit more, I added the shade Rubia there, also in the crease. This one was super pigmented, so I did take a little extra time blending to make sure it was very seamless, but overall I think it is a really nice shade in the palette. Next, we're going to take Sinsemilla, I think it's how you say it, this dark brown in the palette. This is the darkest shade, so I used that in the outer corner. This one did take quite a bit of blending. It was very pigmented, so definitely start out small and then you won't have to do as much blending as I did, but it is a nice kind of shade to deepen out the outer corner. Then I took Rubia again on the lower lash line. And then we're going in with Sweet Lucy. This one's a little bit chunky, as you guys can see, but I used a wet brush with this and it picked up so much product. But overall, this shade is beautiful. It's such a pretty, just like deep olive green. It's so grungy and gorgeous on the lids. I really enjoyed how this one looked, even if it may be a little chunky in the pan. And then I did some blending just to make sure that all kind of came together and was very seamless. I think I lost some of the pigmentation of the dark brown, but that is okay. I'm happy with how the look came out. Next, for the second look, we are going to take Mary again because I just love this one in the crease. Also, while filming, I didn't realize this angle kind of sucks, so I apologize. I went with Rubia again, this time in the outer corner to use as our darker shade here. I tried to go for something a little bit light, but it actually turned out darker than I thought. Also using that same shade on the lower lash line. Next, we're going to take Cali. This is a beautiful, kind of brighter, it's like a champagne, very metallic shadow, very similar to the Sweet Lucy texture. Then I went in with Bamba in the middle just to add something. It was a little bit darker than I was expecting, but I just blended it out, and overall I think the look did come out very nice together. So that is the look I'm wearing in the beginning. Alright, so now trying out the palettes, I'm kind of getting a hang of what the Melt formula is like. So of course, I'm newbie to Melt, so I don't really know their formula in and out. I can't really compare it to their other palettes, but from what I can tell, they do have a very pigmented matte formula that can sometimes be a little hard to blend. But once they are blended, they're super like dark. You can build a lot of depth with this, while I can't with a lot of my other cool tone palettes as much. This one is definitely very dark and grungy, I feel like, and it was very pigmented, but it does take a little getting used to and some blending that you have to do to make sure that it all comes out pretty seamless. And then as far as the shimmers go, they have a very chunky formula. Like sometimes it's very piecey, like when you swatch it you get like little chunks. I do kind of like how these look on the eyes. I feel like they are super shimmery, very popping on the eyes, very noticeable, even more than sometimes my Natasha Denona shimmers are. If I'm comparing to Natasha, because that's one of my favorite formulas, I do like the Natasha mattes a little bit better. But I do feel like the Melt ones are a little bit more pigmented, but the shimmers, the Natasha shimmers, are more like velvety soft. They just kind of glide on with still having a metallic look, but the Melt ones are definitely a little bit more chunky, glittery, but I feel like they're more like shiny and more metallic than Natasha's. So that's kind of what I was comparing it to, since it is one of my favorite cool tone palettes. I feel like maybe some people aren't really gonna like that. I don't mind it. Is it my favorite formula? No. I still prefer Natasha's, but I do really like how this look came out, and I think it is really nice. You just have to kind of take your time with it. So I wanted to do some comparisons. I really only swatched it next to two, because just looking, when I consider something a dupe, it has to be a full palette dupe, not just some shades. I'm kind of particular about dupes because I do have a lot of shadows, and sometimes even if it is a slight tone difference, it makes a difference on the eyes. But obviously I would say the closest dupe is Natasha Denona Glam. There's definitely some major tone differences in them. You can get kind of the same idea with them, but they're just slightly different. And also I feel like this one has a little bit more green vibes to it, which almost made this one look a tiny bit more warm. It's not a warm palette obviously, but it looked more warm next to this. So I felt like these were different enough for me. And then I also wanted to mention Sultry. I did not swatch these because to me this is a dupe for Natasha Denona Glam. I feel like these two are very similar, so I don't think that this is really an exact dupe for the Melt. It's just a little bit more warm. Surprisingly, I can get some similar vibes from the Sydney Grace Enduring Love palette. This is another really pretty cool tone palette, but this one, it's definitely more pinky tone, but I kind of get the green vibes from it. Like I kind of compared this Deanna shade with the Melt, and also this John shade, so it has a little bit of the greens, but obviously not the full matte color schemes. These are a little bit more pinky purple. And then I did want to mention, if you're looking for something like affordable that's similar, but these are definitely not dupes by any means, the ColourPop That's Taupe kind of has a similar vibe. It does have almost those greeny cool tones like this shade here, but the Melt is a lot darker, a lot more pigmented than ColourPop is. ColourPop's more of a lighter wash version of this one. So those are just some ideas, similarities that I found in the palettes, but I do think that this one stands on its own, and it's not super dupeable with one palette in my opinion. That's basically my thoughts on this Melt Maryjane palette. I don't think this convinces me that I'm gonna need like every single Melt palette. It's definitely something that I have to be really attracted to the color story that they're putting out there. I kind of have always been thinking about getting their green palette. Oh, I don't even remember the name of it, but it's just the all green palette. But I just hear so many hit or miss things because I just think their formula can be very finicky, especially with the mattes and the chunky shimmers, but it does create a gorgeous look. It's very stunning. I got a lot of compliments on this on my Instagram. So that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm curious to see your thoughts on this, and if you have tried Melt, what do you guys think about the brand? I'm also wearing their cream blush today. Really love these. I'm wearing Honey Thief. So nice. I know these are like sold out on Sephora, but they're available on the Melt site if you really want them, but I'm sure they'll come back in stock. But anyways, I will let you go. I just wanted to go ahead and give you guys my first thoughts on this palette if it is something you're considering. I know I've uploaded a lot this week. I've just had so much content to put up, but I definitely want to go back, I think, to 5 videos a week. We will see. I might just keep buying stuff and have more things to review for you, but anyways, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.